Hello, everybody. This is Sparky coming back to you. We'll try to see what we can figure out. No one else can talk about Forrest too much because they think there ain't nothing else to talk about. Well, some of them think, but we all know there's a lot to talk about on it. Let's, should we start at the front of the book? Forrest was pretty good at what he did. He's really good at doing advertising. Because that's what gets you. You can advertise. And what did he say about the gallery? He said that he put up little signs there. It says, please touch. You break, we buy. So he's letting you know you can touch stuff at the gallery. But the one thing was, when he came on, he did an interview with someone, and they were talking about, he's doing an interview, and he was talking about when you rent a motel room, don't you get, for 24 hours or whatever you rent it for, don't you get the backyard, the front yard, the barbecue grill? Well, that's what he's talking about the gallery, because it is the one place that he could hide it. It was with his treasures bold. His treasures were bold there, of course. It was the one place. But everybody says, oh, he sold it. I still think he had, because he was always there, especially in 2019. 2018, he was always there, from what they told me there at the gallery when I went there. They said they wondered why I hadn't got to run into him, because I was there a few times, but I was only there one day out of each time I went. But that is where he hit it. He says, as I have gone alone in there with my treasures bold. Right there should tell you that it's at his gallery. Because you got to start in Santa Fe, so where you're going to start? You're going to start at the gallery. Okay, so if you start at the gallery with my treasures bold and keep my secret where? So he's putting his chest where his treasures are bold. So he's going to hide it there at the gallery. Okay. I wasn't planning on going over my solve, because I think everybody knows it well enough. He's been around for a little while. But he had to have it somewhere safe, somewhere he knew it wasn't going to get disturbed by anybody unless they knew exactly where it was. And not only that, after the end of the poem, that next paragraph tells you it all right there. He talks about hints and subtle hints and stuff. Then he goes in right there and saying, last night he had a dream he was reincarnated as Captain Kidd on Gardiner's Island. And he says he was so scared that he was jarred awake and doesn't remember if he found it or not. Now, if you've done a satellite view over Gardiner, you can find a spot in there, and there's for Captain Kidd, and there's a Captain Kidd Hollow, and then right in there there's a pond or a little lake, whatever you want to call it, with an island on it, and it says Home Pond. That was the name of the pond there. They called it the Home Pond. Okay, so anyway, the main ones I have, and it just keeps everybody talking about certain things, like someone was talking about the Trove, and so I just went ahead, and I've already known where it was, but Trove, and so I just Googled the definition of trove, and it tells you a store that sells valuable and desirable things. which is a gallery. That's exactly the explanation. That's the whole definition of a gallery, pretty much. Um, what do you think? Because he didn't sell food or drink out of there, but anyway, he had the place to do it. He just had to figure a way to do it. And what he did was, since he had to, when he bought the gallery, he knew, because the gallery got water two different ways actually. It got water from the city water system, the new water system, and he got water from the acequia that fed the pond or lake in the backyard, in the courtyard. And if you have water coming from an acequia, and I'm really sure about this, I haven't looked into it, but I know for a fact that anytime you get water out of a canal, uh, an acequia, whatever, you're going to have a map drawn every so many years. And since he bought that, he had to draw up a map from there. All right, so you got, it's an old, it was put in, well, I seen it was put in at 1607. It was the Spanish had put it in, but I also heard someone say that it was 1680 something, but I've seen 1607. I read that, and it runs waters to feed to whoever needed water for everyday use. So you don't bathe in it, which was funny because I just thought of that not too long ago too. You know, river bathing's best, yeah, but you don't want to bathe in an acequia, because an acequia is your drinking water and all that. You have to boil it first, and it comes from the Santa Fe River. But the acequia, they do have dams, but they're not called dams. They're called presses. So the pressa, and Forrest said, where warm waters halt, and where warm waters halt is always a dam. It's some kind of dam, but I don't know anything else to call it. But a dike, whatever, that's usually something else on the whatever it is. But an acequia has a pressa because the dams were made, but they got like sheep, and they took a bunch of sheep over it to pack it in with sheep's foot. So so they pack it in, and then they make a dam out of it with gates to open up and let it take down, and they can open up the gates whenever anybody needs water down. But anyway, someone had to draw a map, and that's what Forrest was talking about when he was doing the poem. He was doing it like an architect, and or an engineer. But the water comes all the way from up there on Upper Canyon, up by McClure Lake. I think it comes from right up there, and it has 4 Mile Reservoir, the Audubon Society, I think, and that's where the water treatment plant is. But it's Upper Canyon Road, and this is where you're going to be using your imagination, because you just can't drive up there. You'd have to imagine the acequia. It's a canal system put in years and years ago, so that's been in there since before the gallery. No, I think the gallery is one of the oldest buildings there, and that was the one that the lady lived in, that he had taken her ashes up to Taos Mountain. But it depends on how many times to get the view of it. Everybody, most people probably just went over the poem a few times and they got to know it, or they just went over it until they memorized it. And then you could, that's what I did. I memorized the poem and just went over it and over it. I said it over, I can say over 200 times a day easily for I don't know how many years, since 2013, 14. And I'd say it, and then one day it just hit me. It just says, wow, he's talking about the gallery. And this is years. And this is already after I found the gallery, and then found out how it comes back, because he starts off with the poem stating where it's at. Then you have to find out the exact spot where he puts it at. So that's where you go north until you find Warm Waters Halt. Once you find the warm waters halt, you follow the poem. Begin it where warm waters halt. So no matter what direction you're going, you start off going north. When you find warm waters halt, you go by the poem. And it states, begin it where warm waters halt, take it in the canyon down, so on and so on. Not far but too far to walk, put in below the home of Brown. And Too Far to Walk is a book he wrote because you're going to change following like him and Donnie did, and Lewis and Clark. They went out looking for Lewis and Clark, and what they find? They got lost, so they found this fast-moving stream that had a purpose, had some sort of purpose, he says. And the sides and the walls, he's talking about in the Ttotc. I've already said that before, but he's talking about in the Ttotc. And anyway, they follow the Ttotc down, so, and Too Far to Walk, that's what he's trying to say. You're going to change it over because you're following the Ttotc Madre, and then you're going to change it over on roads. So it's too far to walk. So you're not following that. You're going to be changing it to roads. And you'll find that out when you get down to the end is ever drawing nigh. That means you're taking the whole length of Canyon Road, going all the way down to the end and making a left, draw nigh. The next street is the Ttotc Madre Road. So there'll be no paddle up your creek. Up your creek. And that's what I think is so funny, because that confirms it right there, right? Okay, so you're sitting at the corner of a Ttotc Madre Road and Paseo de Puerta, which wasn't there, which is funny because it don't even mention that road anyway. Just the end is ever drawing nigh, there'll be no paddle up your creek, which is, I thought was really cool. Because I didn't know it. I knew it was going to the gallery. I just didn't know how from the starting of the press. And then it just started hitting me. And it takes a little bit of time for it to hit me. And the reason I watch everybody is because everybody's so smart in this, and everybody in chat rooms is really smart. But and plus I own a company, so I couldn't do it all the time. I couldn't be on it 24 hours a day or whatever. But just think about it. He could put it out there, and anybody go back there, which ain't a lot of people, but I could see a lot of people. I mean, look at the videos on the gallery, Nidra Matizzi, and you'll get on YouTube, and it ain't about the treasure. It's just about them filming, going through the gallery and stuff. And watch them out in the courtyard, especially, and see where they're going through, and look at, because you've got heavy loads, all the bronze statues. You got the high water, the pond, but it ain't that far to the island. I mean, it's only 14 feet maybe, but perfect place. I've got pictures of it. I just I've been on the island. I just thought, and I didn't want to get thrown in jail because I couldn't, because I had to leave and get back to Ozarks, but I had to leave, and I couldn't, and my brother-in-law, he needed to get back to work, so he had to be back at work the next day. So anyway, I was on the island, and he filmed, but I thought it was going to be in the ground, like on page 218 of Too Far to Walk. It's got the Indian woman down, and it's got the slate. I thought it was on the island like that. But then I took a bunch of pictures, and I didn't notice until I got home, and I blew up the pictures to where I could see, and I could see a wooden box that had a aluminum, like a cover over it with the ends folded over. I've got the picture. I wish I could put it on here. I don't know how to do that. So anyway, and what everybody's not getting on it though is that you go north, but he don't put it. He says some rules are meant to be should be bent. But I don't even think the rules have to be bent, because he says go north, you find your warm waters halt, and it brings you back. You're still going north to find the treasure. You have to go north to get the treasure, even though the poem brings you back to the gallery. And the safest place that thing could be, because have all that gold sitting out there and no one would even think of it, on that island, because no one ever went across it. No gardener ever even trimmed that island. The whole 10 from 2010, you could tell because it was all trimmed up, and you could see two boxes in some pictures. But let me tell you about me making reservations. I was making reservations to go out there. I was waiting for COVID to get over, and I thought, man, I was trying to hurry up. And June 3rd, I was making reservations, and then what was it, June 5th that he found it, or when it was told that he found it? But see, don't think that it'd be in Wyoming. He's using the Rocky Mountains as a Wyoming type deal because it is the poem works too good just going that way. You can put it on a post-it and everything. I mean, it's just simple, you know. Take it in the canyon down. You're going down Canyon Road, not far but too far to walk. Put in below the Homer Brown. From there, there's no place for the meek. The end is ever drawing nigh. So the meat can be there because it's a historic garden. It's 545 Canyon Road. And they used to sell or make chocolate up in one of the balconies or whatever up. And they said it overlooked the garden where the blazes were at. Well, one blaze is still there. The other one died, and they had to cut it down, I guess. So, and the blaze is a tree, yes. And the way you could find that is pretty easy. I thought it was gonna. It took me 2 years to find it, and finally I just sat there and just, okay, let's do it the easy way. Let's take the color brown and see how far it goes. So I take it back in Old Spanish to French, and it tells you exactly the color brown, what the deal is. Then you'll have to take, and once it tells you that, you go and Google it and put each state in. New Mexico, and it'll give you an address in New Mexico. And it was really good. I knew it because it's right dead center almost from the gallery, from the pressa to the gallery, from the dam to the, you know what I mean. So anyway, but no one thinks that. I can't believe no one ever thought about that part. I mean, because he does tell you north. You do got to go north, and then it begin it. So then it bringing you back. So if anybody can say, hey, well, that's wrong or whatever, but they can say it. But where else is he gonna put it? An 80-year-old man? Where would an 80-year-old man? Where can he go? To a gallery, to the park, la da. And he could have done it. It's about 200 feet from inside there to out there to get to the one side of the island. I've been there, and I said I got there and I just didn't know exactly the spot, and then I seen it on the picture. I know exactly where. I know where it would be. I didn't want to get on there, not, which I did. But that was the second time I was there. And the third time I was just going to... Because I don't see Forrest hiding that much gold and putting it over 2 states away. And having someone drive from there, from Wyoming back. And it'd be against the law to put it anywhere in Yellowstone. So that wouldn't work. He kept it in the one state at the gallery. Which everybody's going to know. That's where they had the celebration of life for Forrest and Peggy. In 2022, just last year. So they're going to be having that there all the time. Why? And does Cynthia actually believe that, they're having a celebration of life and that's the place they're looking for? Was where Forrest wanted to die? Hey, I don't know what to say on top of that, But, it's just got to use common sense, I think, and just think and look at it, because you go through the book and then you start thinking about every time he talked about the gallery. He talked about when he found the aluminum headstone or whatever, the aluminum one that said, and smile at a homely girl. Then you're looking in the book and he's got him and his wife standing on each sides of a homely looking girl, all smiling for a picture. So, smile at a homely girl. That's what I think he's talking about at the gallery. He was talking about his father sitting on the banco at the gallery. Well, it's a bank. Well, they usually call it a bank where the water is. But he did say at the beginning that one guy who wrote that book, whichever, I'm gonna go and try to think of it, but Sloan or whoever it was, that he said that that book was all about him. It was different people, different places, different things, and all that, but it was all about him. And if you go back and look at the gallery, the gallery is the main talk. And whenever you put that gallery or that address down into Google or whatever, it comes up Forrest Fenn or Fenn and Nidra Ttotc galleries. It's got them both combined. So I know he had 25% of that because that's the only place that I know that he could put it and keep an eye on it. That's why he was always there. But see, I don't know what the island, since it's an acequia, what that water, because that water is, but once it gets onto the property, I don't know. I don't know that kind of details, but anyway, I just know he's talking about the acequia because page 5 of Ttotc is he's talking about a hand dealt to you. So if you use the acequia madre presa, the acequia madre itself, and the presa, and the acequia madre road. Okay, you use the road. So there's 3, and then Forrest being an ace fighter pilot, which I have, all I've heard him call is a Maverick, but I think that'd be almost the same thing as an ace. So there's 3 aces and a joker. He knew exactly what he was doing on this because everybody, he fooled everybody. This thing started out with 1,000 books. Now, he thought 1,000 books that, even if not everybody out there got a book at that time, I mean, he thought someone out of them 900 books at least someone would be able to figure it out. It was that small, and no one figured it out, and it just got bigger and bigger, and he had to do more books, and so on. Say hello. Hello. I'm sorry. Talking to my bird. What did you say? Mommy's been teaching you bad words. But, I'm just trying to put out the truth on it. I don't think I deserve anything. I don't want nothing. I'm just trying to, everybody wants to know the truth because it'll drive them crazy. It'd drive me crazy. But if you realize that it was at the gallery on that island in the safest place, I actually think that was safe because the walls are only, 4 foot tall, but they're rounded and they're about 18 inches wide, or a foot to an 18 inches wide. Okay, I hear you. But, yeah, heavy loads and water high. If you're standing on the corner of Acequia Madre and Paseo de Puerta, and you satellite view that corner, look where your water's high. You got to find your water's high anywhere in that area. And when you look over, he says, "Get back in the box." It's all fenced off, square like a box, and there's a pond back there. There's your heavy loads and water high. Okay, now that's where the poem takes you from. When you start the poem, it takes you down Canyon Road, left. Then you're at there'll be no paddle up your creek. You confirm it because you're at the gallery. And then heavy loads and water high. And if you've been wise and found the blaze. So you found the water out there, the pond. So now if you've been wise and found the blaze, what would be the blaze? Would be the trees. But there'd be the one tree. There's only one tree on the island, and then bushes. Just like in some of the pictures drawn. The one with the plane dropping the 2 bombs. That one is actually an island with one tree on it, if you look at it. So, and it's at the base of that tree. And that tree is a horse chestnut that I think he planted years ago. So anyway, but heavy loads and water high. Here, I'll go ahead and go through it. Um, if you've been wise and found the blaze, look quickly down, your quest to cease. But tarry scant with marvel gaze, just take the chest and go in peace. Now there's where he tells you to bring a flashlight and a sandwich. You cross that water and you find that chest. I want to see anybody be able to carry that thing without getting it wet across there, without using anything, just their hands, and cross the water, because the water's about 4 foot deep. So yeah, whoa, yeah, But anyway, to get it and cross it, there's no way. So that's why I think he said about have someone in the car, because they're going to have to go get you something, an inner tube or something to put that on to kind of float it, whatever it takes. A blow up raft. I thought of a wheelbarrow inner tube, but I don't know if it'd have been to hold 48 pounds or 45 pounds. That'd be kind of tough. But I see that it's the one place that he could put it and everything work out. And he'd have known who found it. But that's what he talks about with don't get the alligators mad until you cross the water. Because he knows you got to go through. If you get them people mad in there, they ain't going to let you in the courtyard, because you got to go through the gallery to get in the courtyard. I guess you could jump the fence, but it'd be kind of hard. But, yeah, I'm just, and I'm also just as old as Street, and why must I go, and we're all about the same age. But I've just been trying to put out the truth to you guys, but you guys think I'm crazy or something, but you'll understand here pretty soon when they put it out. It was found at the gallery on the island. And if Cynthia don't know that yet, I don't know what she was looking for to begin with, because you're looking for the place where he wanted to die. But let's continue. Let me go on with that after blaze. If you've been wise and found the blaze, look quickly down, your quest to cease. But tarry scant with marvel gaze. Just take the chest and go in peace. He don't want you to make a big deal out of it, but I don't think you're going to leave right away, because they have a vault in there that I'd probably tried to leave it there, or I'd have taken it to the nearest bank that had a safety deposit box that would have held it. But that's a lot of gold to be driving with, for anybody, I think. Some people think, oh yeah, I could do it, but if you got pulled over by the cops and they seen that thing, they'd confiscate that thing so fast, and then you'd probably never see it again. Well, not unless you rented an armored truck service or something. That'd probably be a good way to go. But, so hear me all, listen good, your effort, no, gotta back up. So why is it that I must go and leave my trove for all to seek? So you're seeking his trove. What is his trove? The gallery was his trove. And for all to seek. So hear me all, listen good, your effort will be worth the cold. If you're brave and in the wood, I give you title to the gold. So you're going to get wet too. I already knew that. And, so, yeah, this is all about the gallery. I was thinking about going through the book again, and, yeah, thank you. But going through the book again and then finding more clues, because they'll start popping out. If you just think about it being the gallery, that'd make a lot more sense, and why they were protecting it. That's why he said Wyoming. They were trying to protect it because it's a pretty nice place. I really liked it. If you haven't been to that gallery in the backyard, it is sweet. I enjoyed it thoroughly. It feels like you're out in the middle of the mountain still, or whatever. Because, I live in the Ozarks, and there's all kinds of trees. What? You trying to get on tape? But, for Forrest Fenn, he did a damn good job. And, everybody had good saws, but you needed a warm waters halt. That's not a dam. And the only other thing, and the way I found it was just I googled the street and found out what the street was, and then found out it was an acequia that I didn't even know what an acequia was called. I knew what they were. I've seen them, but I just didn't know what it was called. But an acequia, they have like there's 900 of them still they're using today. 900 acequias. So I wouldn't say. I mean, the best part I found for Forrest Fenn was there. The 8.25 miles is there and then back. That's how he's got everybody fooled. Everybody thinks no, he means 8.25 miles straight out. No, no. That's why he tells you begin it. That's where you start. No matter which way it goes, and if it's, and I know it's still north because the backyard, the island, I think is just north of the center of the Capitol building is, and the Capitol building is round. The only round Capitol building in the United States is in New Mexico, right across the street from Forrest, where Forrest Fenn had his gallery right there. But if you think the historic society is going to let them tear down that building and stuff, and you got another thing coming. That building's going to stay there. They might turn the building into condos, yes, but they ain't going to tear it down. It's too much of a historic site for that property with the acequia that feeds water to it too, besides the natural, or not the natural, but the city supplying potable water. But that water would be for watering stuff, and that's what Forrest was trying to get along and saying. And I've been saying this before it was the treasure was even found. I was saying you can't find it on a map. You have to put it on a map, and then, because they don't put acequias and canals on maps, or water systems, or anything to that matter. But the acequia flows there, and it fills that pond, and I think that if that's the cistern more or less for the whole area, right there, it was pretty big, but that is, he had to draw a map, and that's what gave him the idea of doing this. Because the acequia is a treasure, and it was back then. I mean, you had to have water to survive, and that's what he was talking about with that place he had south of Santa Fe, Lazario. They left that place because, like someone that mentioned in one of mine, the last one or the one before, that maybe it was because they had water there and it dried up. That's what I think too. I think it dried up and they all had to just leave because I didn't. And that's the whole deal with him sitting there drinking a soda out of a can or whatever. I think it was a soda. I don't think it was a beer, but from everybody getting upset because they can't figure it out and calling Forrest names and the family and everything else, that's totally wrong. That is way totally wrong. What Barb's doing is totally wrong. Totally wrong. She shouldn't even have done anything like that. And that's why he didn't call off the treasure hunt, because it ain't out in Yellowstone where you can get attacked by a bear. He's gonna put it where you ain't gonna get hurt. It's in a what do you say? It's in a like a closed area, just a kind of like how he said it was. It just reminded me of a closed area, and it is a closed area to some sort of. But it's just more common sense. And then him taking people and they're interviewing them on the treasure, and he's walking them around that island outside in the courtyard. That had got to be funny. He's probably busting up inside, just going, man, if they only knew. They're only 15, 20 feet from it. And he's walking them around there, you know? And probably done the same thing with me, you know? I'd probably done the same thing, interviewed him and had me walk right around that. But how many people did walk out there and even with him or without him, walk around that pond and think, oh, and joke around saying, oh, there's 2 chests there, you know, hey, there's a treasure chest. Well, it ain't as funny. It's funny because they think it's funny, but what's really funny is that's where it was. No one ever went over there to check it out. But when I walked into the gallery for the first time, never been there in my life, walk in, drove 12 hours to get there, walked in the door, and had three of the employees there go, "Oh, you're back." I said, "What?" I looked at my friend that went with me and, "What?" He goes, "Do do 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 do." I said, "Me," and I was wearing a shirt of one of my good friends that died. Had him fishing on the front of the shirt. I said, "Me." I kind of pointed at myself with this shirt on. "Yeah," they said, "You just left just a little bit ago." I said, "No, it wasn't me. I've never been here." That was really weird. I don't know, I'll never forget that. But yeah, this chase was really neat. It got people up and out and everything what he wanted to do. And a lot of people think it is out. And he just did what he got everybody up off the couch and out and away from the little games and all that. But Forrest is really good at that kind of stuff. He's really good and talented. But that book is about the gallery, you guys. If you can't see it, you will. He did a good job on it to where you don't think it's there in Santa Fe. The only bookstore that sold the book was in Santa Fe. Okay, the treasure stayed in Santa Fe. It just went north for a minute, for like just a little over 4 miles. And you have to, that's what everything is. The imagination is really no, just you're just imagining the water come down because you can't. They got a gate locked there by where the water treatment plant is, and they won't allow. I don't think they'll allow you to go up there, not unless you talk to them, said you're doing a story or something on something, but all that. But anyway, you don't need to. That's where the imagination comes in, and there's all kinds of stuff in there that were clues, and I could sit here and kind of think, like Spanish class. He did Spanish class, so it's going to be about Spanish. But I didn't know the Homer Brown was going to be about that too. And it's the Spanish color. So I think Forrest did a really good job on it. And I still have a lot to say. I know I'm missing a lot of stuff, but I'm just trying to get you guys to understand that it ain't Superman. Dave, sorry, but it ain't Superman. Um, it ain't 1.61. It's just talking about the water that gets to the gallery. Um, it's a lot about water, but it ain't about water with fish. It ain't about fishing brown trout. It ain't. He did a really good. That's why no one figured it out. I didn't know for a while there after I started doing it, and then I found the gallery and I looked at some of the stuff on YouTube. Not on the treasure hunt, just on people going to the gallery and filming it. And they showed some neat stuff. They had some outdoor parties there, and they showed, and oh man, all the statues in there, man, they're just expensive too. But that treasure was small. And what was he talking about? The elephants and ants? Well, the elephants are there. I didn't see the ants, but they're there too. But yeah, it's kind of crazy, but I know that's where it was. It had to be close to him. That's what he said. "Forrest, did you really do that?" So I tried to pull a Ben. Anyway, you guys will realize, come around, that I've been trying to put it out there, the truth on it, and it'll come out. If Shiloh, he tried to bullshit me. He's saying, "Oh, it was in Cody." Then the next paragraph, he's writing, he says, "It was in Kerwin." Yeah. Okay, Shiloh. Well, that proves to me that I don't have nothing against Shiloh. I don't know him. I don't hate him. I don't know him. But when you tell somebody one and then you say another place, and that really helped me out, because I know where it was, and you know where it was. But do you know the poem, Shiloh? Do you know the beginning? Do you know the end? Do you know what it was used for? Do you know? I know you're trying to save the place, but you got a lot of people going to Wyoming that, you know, I'm trying to say, give a message to Shiloh, but anyway, he probably won't listen to this. He might, but I have nothing against the family or nothing. No, family should be stayed out of this. There should be no one that you can accuse of anything, really. Um, Not Shiloh, not the family, none of them. So I think it'd be bullshit to even try to sue them and stuff, you know? Because first off, I know Barb don't know the solve, but it'll be coming out here real soon, and you guys find out. It took me a while, but you know, I can only, you know, it's like you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink, you know? And some people go, yeah, I can make it drink. Hell yeah, I can make it drink. But, yeah, I think Forrest did a fantastic job on it. And he wasn't going to stop it because he knew that it was in a nice place where you can't get hurt. And if you've ever been back there, you know what I mean. And I got some animals that were... Oh, she shut up finally. God. Sorry, guys. She's really noisy. She's an African gray, Congo. But she can say a lot of words. In fact, she's the one that told me a few things about Forrest. No, I'm just kidding. But anyway, leave some comments if you want to know anything that I didn't talk about or whatever, because I can answer them if they're all about the chase. You know, the whole poem, whatever. But, yeah, I can't believe he fooled that many people. Because I didn't think I'd be the only one that knows about it. And with Jack, I don't have nothing against Jack neither. You know, Jack should be just left alone. If he wants to talk, let him talk. But that shows me that if he's already known, either he's not real or he ain't coming out because he doesn't know the whole poem. He just heard where it sat. It sat right there on the island at the gallery. That's all he had to hear, isn't that pretty much? And it took him a while to figure it out after he did that, from what I understand. But they're trying to save the gallery. Because look at the pictures with him and Jack in the chest or whatever. They're in like one of the rooms that were at the gallery. I wouldn't say that they were, because I don't think Forrest would be that dumb to do that there when it was there, if he wanted to keep everybody from knowing, you know, exactly where it was. So anyway, I hope you guys had a good weekend, and if I think of anything else, I will make a video of it or something. But I know you don't like looking at them stray lights. I'll put it on me next time or something. But all right, you guys have a good night, and we'll talk to you soon. Just leave me a comment if you can, and we'll talk to you. All right, bye.